Let's take a look at some of the measuring and marking items you can make with a 3D printer for your workshop. Since I was on a square tear, I thought I'd try to print out one of Woodpecker's most expensive squares, the Delve Square. Now, I wasn't expecting my 3D printer to completely replace my Delve Square, but I was quite impressed. Just like the Delve Square, it has that tiny lip on the bottom, and it even has markings along the side so that you can set your angle. And lastly, it does have those scribe holes. And really, the only issue I have with this square is that it's a metric, but I guess it's nice to have a metric square in your shop. I tried to find this square in Imperial, but I just couldn't find it, and this can really be an issue with a lot of items you find online, as most of the world is on metric. But it is indeed square when we compare it to the Woodpeckers, and I think is a great thing to make with your 3D printer. The next item I made, I had a couple of problems with, but once I found a download that worked, it works great. And that's one thing I've learned from 3D printing. If your first design doesn't work, try to find another maker of that design and see if that works. But you guessed it, I was easily able to create a 1, 2, 3 block with this machine. And this 3D printed 1, 2, 3 block is dead accurate. Whether you compare it to the 1, the 2, or even the 3-inch side, it's perfectly matched. You just gotta find the right file that works best with your machine. The next item I dialed up was all about figuring out what size the metric bolts were in my shop. Instead of fiddling around at the hardware store, this simple device can let you know what you need before you go. Simply slide your bolt into the side of the tool to get your width, in this case an M8, and then place the bolt onto the top of the tool to get the length. In this case, we need a 16mm length. And it's a simple little measuring tool like this that takes all the guesswork out of what you need at the hardware store. So you probably already have a DFM mini square, but what if you could make one with this device? Well, that's exactly what I tried to do when I saw this next item. Now, this is another thing that you kind of have to be aware of when you're looking at 3D print files. Although this tiny square is completely square and it does come with some pins, those pins just won't fit into the slots on this square. Now, this could be resolved with a little bit of sanding. However, the critical piece, which is the center finder on the center of the square, is also melted together, making that function of the square completely inoperable. However, it is nice to have a tiny little square like this.